Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today I've got something very special for you. It's a members only release from Tarmac Works, and it's the Koenigsegg Agera RS, finished off in this very beautiful metallic blue and black contrast. So this one's not available in stores, so let's take a closer look. And straight away you can see from the shape of the box immediately that it's a little bit different to the usual boxes. So Tarmac Works usually has a box like this for these type of Koenigsegg's, and by the way, I will be reviewing this Regera in a future video as well. It's a release from this year and it's a really cool car. So anyways, back to this one though. So we've got this larger style box, and of course you can see straight away it says members only model, and it's finished off in this kind of carbon fiber weave. And of course we've got a beautiful picture of the Agera RS, and it just continues there as well. And of course the car is also limited to 1,248 pieces. And on the rear it's got all the details, so it's got even the color. So this is called a blue metallic slash back, and it's a really nice presentation for the box. So this car is kind of unavailable because of its member only status. There was also a chase model available of this car, which is a kind of silver in color. You can find those online for about 50-ish pounds. However, I couldn't find any of these blue ones, strangely enough. But originally they were just around 20-ish to 30-ish pounds. So I couldn't find any recently though, so it's kind of rare. But let's dive into the car itself. And now I've just cut this piece off there like that, and you can take the box out like this. And here we go. You can see the car comes in this kind of blister, and that's pretty awesome. There's no like card or anything like that in there. It's just the car itself in this kind of blister pack over here. So let's get it out of there. So there you go. Let's pop it out of the box, and there you have it. Wow, this car looks really incredible in real life. My goodness. Let's get some light on it. Wow, that is a very beautiful looking color. You can see the metallic sheen in the car. That is really cool, and I really like this contrast in it. So of course, as mentioned before, this color combination is called blue metallic slash black. So you can see, of course, the black accented edges. It's a very nice, sleek looking, like contrasted look. It feels really authentic to Koenigsegg's like aggressive sort of aesthetic that they usually have. And this finish really pops under the light, especially on all the kind of sculpted surfaces of the car. It's a really exquisite looking finish on this car, and I like these little highlights as well on the car itself. And of course, it's not just this crazy color that stands out. Of course, it is a very special car because it is a members only model, and not only that, but it was an extremely special car in real life as well. So the Agera RS wasn't just fast, it essentially rewrote the Hypercar rulebook. It was the world's fastest production car at one point, and it had a top speed of 447.19 kilometers an hour, or 277, almost 278 miles per hour. It was the former record holder for the world record. And one of its famous feats was that it held the 0 to 400 to 0 kilometers an hour record in only 21.19 seconds. And that was in 2017. So the car is absolutely crazy, and this record-setting DNA just really makes this diecast feel a lot more special. So let's actually look at the details of the model itself. And starting off on the roof, we've got a very intricate and interesting design here. So it's very typical of Koenigsegg's that they've got this removable top roof, and then you've also got a little clear window, so when you're sitting inside the car you've got a beautiful view just above you. And of course it almost has like a double bubble kind of shape, and that leads down all the way into the rear deck of the car. So the 1-to-1 variant, for instance, would have the air intake running all the way through this channel. And of course, we've got that beautiful two-tone, we've got this gloss black, and then we've got this really highly like shiny, deep metallic blue. And that's of course the color throughout the car, and it just looks really beautiful. Then heading a little bit further down, we've got this crazy looking D-yellow. So it curves all the way around from the side all the way into the front windscreen and wraps around to the other side. So it's almost got like a U shape going on, and that's really a cool piece of design, and gives Koenigsegg a really unique character. And of course, we've got the center windscreen wiper as well, just to help with aerodynamics of the car. And then going a bit further down, we've got a really interesting shape for this front trunk, bonnet, or boot kind of area. And you can see it's got so much intricacies. So we've got the center little intake with a little Koenigsegg logo above that. And then we've got 2 air outlets on either side, finished off in black. And you can see the light line reflections, how much three-dimensionality this piece actually has. It's very intricate. And then of course we also have these 2 air just vent outlets just above the wheels themselves as well. And then also a Koenigsegg logo just in the center. And then we've got these really beautiful headlights just finished off in this black with some chrome or sort of silver accented edges for the lights themselves in there. And of course this has a clear acrylic cover as well. So really nice attention to detail. And then we've just got this little split line going to the front bumper, and you can see this black motif carries all the way through into the front intake, which is just finished off in this highly gloss black. So of course in the real car that would be a channel that kind of runs into the car. And then of course we've got these 2 side little intakes, once again with a 3D grille texture. And we've got these really cool looking canards highlighted in this green, and they actually cut through this side air outlet, and that's a very cool looking design feature of the car. And then in the front we've got this really like polished black front splitter or lip, I suppose, and then that finishes off in this kind of edge here, which becomes like a kind of fin around the edges, and that's also highlighted in this green color. And I really like the way that they have these kind of accents, which is very typical of Koenigsegg, but it's a very cool look that they have for the cars. And now we get to the front wheels. So we've got these really beautiful high gloss 5-spoke wheels. Of course, the real car has them made out of carbon fiber for lightweightness. And you can see that there's no brake assembly behind it, no rotor and no calipers either. And we've got this kind of center locking hub in the middle. However, I feel like this car's got a little bit too much of a wheel issue with the sizes. It looks to be a little bit too big for the car, to be honest. And also, this also compromises the ride height. So I think if they cut the ride height down a little bit, it would look a little bit better. But I feel like the wheels are a bit too big. And just to demonstrate that, looking at it from the side on, I've got a 118 variant of this car. However, this is not the Agera RS, but this is the Agera 1-to-1, and you can see the overall size of the wheels. So they're quite a lot smaller than they are in relation to the car overall. Of course, this is a car made by Auto Art, and this is a car that I will be featuring on the channel in the future as well. And you can see how absolutely exquisite this Agera looks. But anyways, back to the other one. You can see the difference in the wheel proportion. And actually HKM has also released a 164 variant. So I've got one right here. And you can see that this one's wheels are actually quite a lot smaller and quite a lot more true to the actual car itself. But anyways, back to this car. And of course, usually for 164s, they sometimes tend to upscale the wheels just to make them look in proportion at such a small scale. So I'm not really surprised they've done it, but I think they could have gone with a lot less of wheel height clearance. I think it really would have helped the model. It sits kind of high up as it is. But anyways, continuing to the side of the car, we've got some really nice split lines for the doors. So of course there are no opening components on this car, but we've got a really crisp looking split line, and of course this black motif with this green stripe just kind of continues all the way on the side of the car, very typical of the Agera. And then heading into the side, we've got quite a lot of three-dimensionality heading into that side air intake, and you can see that that air intake is just blacked out in the center there. It doesn't actually go all the way through or anything like that. And even the side skirt is finished off in this two-tone color, so we've got this black and then we've got this little green edge. And actually you can see that the front lip over here sticks out quite a lot more than the side skirt. So you can see that it's got quite a large width in the side on the front, as opposed to the actual side skirts, which is another kind of strange little thing. It gives it a bit of a strange, unique look. I'm not really sure how accurate that would be, but it's just what you get in this case. And anyway, heading further down, we've got a beautiful little Agera RS logo. So beautiful attention to detail, finished off in this typical lettering, very crisp and nice. And then you can see how nice the paint quality of this car is. So those light lines hitting off exceptionally well off all these beautiful Koenigsegg surfaces. You can see heading into the roof as well, this metallic sheen has such a nice looking color to it. It's really deep, especially you can see it on the roof section over there. Maybe it's not quite as gloss as the rest of the car. It's got a more of a satiny kind of sheen on there, but overall the shapes of this car are extremely exquisite. You can see the light lines and reflections hitting off the side of the car. Exceptional. And then of course we head to the rear wheels. So once again, it's pretty much the same as the front, and you can see that they roll pretty freely, and that's a really nice touch. Not all of these cars get rolling wheels, so that's a great thing to have. And then we've got a beautiful piece of reflection over there, and a lot of three-dimensionality once again in these split sections between the blue and the black. And we've also got these three-dimensional air outlets above the rear wheels. It's not punched through or anything like that, but it is a three-dimensional element. And then heading to the back, we've got this crazy looking typical Koenigsegg rear. So we've got extremely vivid, this huge air outlet in the back, finished off in this three-dimensional grille structure. Then underneath that, we've got a really nice looking, pretty clean style exhaust, finished off in the silver, and the black on the inside edges very well executed as well. And then we've got these really long style rear diffuser, once again accented with that little green, and that's a really cool little touch. It's very hypercar style, especially with these Koenigseggs. I really like these little accents. It always gives it a unique character. And then we've got the rear lights there as well, and also these little like reflector style lights. So the rear lights themselves have quite a lot of three-dimensionality, and they are actually a separate element in there, and pretty nice attention to detail, I must say. And then heading into this rear wing, you can see how elaborate it is. So Koenigsegg's always tend to have these crazy elaborate wings, and you can really see the shape and the three-dimensionality as I move it around. You know, we've got these really raised up sections on this on the edges, and then even these kind of fins have a really exquisite shape, and they just say RS on the side. And the wing is of course just finished in this kind of gloss black, just to complement the rest of this gloss black color on the car. And now jumping into the rear deck, you can see that we've got some air outlets on the back there. And of course, that's where the strut for this rear wing comes out from as well. So of course, the 1-to-1 variant has this huge strut, but this Agera RS just has these kind of small ones holding the wing up. And then we can see this beautiful little Perspex window with the Ghost Squadron logo on there. Of course, that's synonymous with Koenigsegg. And you can kind of see the engine struts in the rear there. However, we don't really get to see much detail, unfortunately. Of course, with the Koenigsegg being such a record holder, this thing's got a crazy engine. It's got a 1160 horsepower twin turbo V8. So it would be nice to see something, but Koenigsegg's are typically known to have not too much visibility of the engine from this angle. They are more known for, you know, the crazy opening sections, and then you can see it in exquisite beauty. However, unfortunately, not too much is visible through that little window over there. And looking into the interior of the car, you can see that because of that tilt roof piece, we can actually see quite a lot of the interior. So the handbrake is modeled on the interior. Then we've got this kind of dial in the center that's typical of the Agera, and then a little screen there as well. Nothing is displayed on the screen as far as I can see, but the screen is there. And then we've got these two typical Koenigsegg style bucket seats, and they've got a little bit of like a three-dimensional, like punched kind of section, so it gives it a little bit of interest, and that's really nice. And of course, in the center, we've got all the air vents. You can see two in the center there, as well as the ones on the side. And we've also got this steering wheel, although I do not see any Koenigsegg emblem, and I don't see any dials or anything like that either. So kind of simplistic. It's very three-dimensional. It's got a lot of good detail, but not much coloring on the interior. Under this more dynamic lighting, you can see how well Tarmac Works has executed all the different surfaces, as well as all the lines and the proportions of this Koenigsegg Agera RS. I think they've done a beautiful job in recreating this in miniature. Although one small thing that I would say is I think the wheels are a tiny bit oversized, and while that's not really a big bother, I feel like the car's ride height could be a bit lower as well, just to give it a more low slung, like Koenigsegg style stance. But other than that, I think it's a really well polished and really exquisite model. I especially love this color combination. I mean, blue and green always manage to work together very well, so I think they've done an excellent job. And of course, this is a real good one for any collector who likes to collect all these member-only models, or also for someone who is a huge Koenigsegg fan. And if you are a Koenigsegg fan, I'm gonna have a lot more of these Koenigsegg's coming up in the future. Just to give you a quick sneak peek, I'm gonna have this HKM Agera. Of course, I will have this newly released Tarmac Works Regera to review as well. And then furthermore, I have this Koenigsegg Jesko Attack, once again by Tarmac Works. And I also have a couple of these Koenigsegg CC850s, the orange as well as the silver one coming up. And the Jesko I will actually be comparing to the CM models. So as you can see, plenty of beautiful Koenigsegg models coming up, and I'll be posting the link for all of those down below once they are released. And of course, feel free to comment, like and subscribe if you want to see more of these type of videos, and tune into all these cool Koenigseggs coming up sometime shortly. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you guys have had a good time. Take it easy, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.